look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap, just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he got to be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where he shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. You got to show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car, and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that, like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like $3 million. There's watches that are $3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. That's nuts.
When Floyd Mayweather's real estate statements became a topic of discussion, Joe Rogan openly questioned the numbers behind them. During the conversation, he made it clear that something about the figures didn't seem right, suggesting that the calculations simply weren't matching up.
And one of the reasons why people watch him fight is not because he's like Mike Tyson, just goes out and destroys people. They like watching him fight because they hate him. Because he talks so much shit, and he's like, look at my $1 million watch, look at my fucking jet, look at my house, look at this. He's like constantly showing you all these things that he has. Like, he'll lay out watches in a hotel bed, like, this is $1 million worth of watches. This watch goes for $2 million. And they're like, this is my small watch that I take sometimes, but when I'll show you, when I'll show up, I bring out the big boy, and it brings out this watch that's covered in diamonds. It's like $5 million. And so you hate him.
And that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment. His private jet fuel, he's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan from an individual, from a billionaire, that had a 9% interest on the loan.
Rogan challenged the story being told about Floyd's wealth, noting that claims of owning numerous high-value properties should be backed by clear evidence. He emphasized that making impressive statements is one thing, but proving ownership of major assets is something entirely different.
That money to the IRS, how much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to pay.
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this, he makes so much money, there's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right. I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
That's where things start to get interesting. Floyd's entire money image was built around unlimited success, expensive jewelry, luxury lifestyles, and the perception of an unstoppable financial powerhouse. However, discussions circulating in business circles suggest that the reality behind those claims may be far more complex than it appears on the surface.
That Floyd Mayweather has made, and because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is or has been a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of his career.
Reports highlighted by Business Insider indicated that two of Mayweather's commercial real estate holdings had gone through foreclosure proceedings. There were also claims that a Las Vegas property connected to his strip club business faced potential action due to outstanding tax obligations. On top of that, legal disputes emerged involving alleged unpaid balances for high-end watches and jewelry, allegations that Floyd has publicly disputed. As a result, the discussion shifted away from displays of wealth and toward closer examination of his financial situation.
He said that, things that they said in this article were insane, that Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment, his private jet fuel. He's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan.
The report further stated that 2 condominium units at Trump Las Vegas were briefly taken over because of unpaid tax obligations before being restored once the outstanding amount was settled. It also referenced a reported $54 million loan that allegedly listed multiple assets, including residences, business interests, and a private aircraft, as security. Whether the situation stems from overstated claims or simple confusion, the contrast between the public image of enormous wealth and these reported financial issues has continued to spark discussion. With Joe Rogan already raising questions about Floyd's financial narrative, these reports only added more uncertainty to the debate.
What's wrong with that? And why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd Mayweather? Yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. That they say can't read. That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing channel, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke.
View 6. He turned the argument around and challenged viewers directly. His point was simple. If most people continue working because they need an income, why should it be surprising when a fighter keeps competing for financial reasons? It was the kind of comment that mixed blunt realism with his usual provocative style. From there, he shifted focus to boxing's biggest money stories, arguing that many of the massive earnings figures and pay-per-view totals often come from promotional claims rather than independently verified financial data. He noted that the companies responsible for handling the transactions have rarely confirmed some of the extraordinary numbers being reported. That observation immediately raised questions about many of the sport's long-standing financial narratives and added another layer to the
gambling addict. He got baby mamas all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote the check?
At the same time, Chael's criticism wasn't aimed solely at Floyd. He was also challenging the broader way financial success is presented throughout professional sports. The discussion then shifted to the confusion surrounding fight agreements, with Chael arguing that publicly announcing several potential bouts while another major matchup is supposedly being arranged would be a nightmare for any promoter. In combat sports, scheduling and exclusive commitments play a huge role in making deals work. That's where the situation becomes especially ironic. Chael referenced Floyd's past complaints about Showtime, noting that he had accused the company of operating in ways he considered questionable, adding another layer of complexity to the ongoing debate.
And I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good, and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And, yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be sympathetic.
At the same time, some critics have argued that similar issues appeared in situations involving Floyd's own promotional efforts, including discussions surrounding the Logan Paul event. As a result, the story starts to feel increasingly complicated, with different sides pointing fingers at one another. What makes it especially interesting is the contradiction Chael indirectly brings to light. People may challenge Floyd's financial claims, dispute reported earnings, debate contractual matters, or dismiss exhibition bouts altogether. Even so, those questions have done little to stop the conversations that continue to surround his name.
Mayweather owes Logan Paul $1.3 million. No, he doesn't. Just to clear that up, no, he doesn't. Will Logan ever get the money? I think Floyd's broke. Floyd does not owe Logan $1.3 million. Floyd's promotion owes Logan $1.3 million. And no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down. Allegedly, by the way.
After Sonnen helped fuel the debate about Floyd's financial situation, the conversation took another turn when Jason Whitlock and his panel weighed in. What began as a discussion about boxing quickly started sounding more like an investigation into finances than a breakdown of fights. Whitlock opened by revisiting the idea, also discussed by Shannon Sharpe and others, that Floyd's return to competition could be motivated by the opportunity to secure another major payday. Once names such as Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Terence Crawford entered the discussion, the focus naturally shifted toward the business side of boxing. The argument was that those matchups are among the few capable of generating the kind of revenue associated with blockbuster events. Then the conversation took an unexpected turn when Whitlock referenced a classic Rocky-style question about why fighters continue competing, transforming the debate from money and matchmaking into a broader discussion about motivation.
Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
There are only 3 fights that Floyd can have. He ain't gonna have no choice.
The discussion continued with the suggestion that only a handful of opponents could generate the level of revenue needed to justify a major comeback, especially if the goal is to recover from financial setbacks, significant expenses, or other monetary obligations. One matchup that immediately came up was a second fight with Canelo. While some questioned whether that would be realistic given the size and stage of Canelo's career today, others argued that the financial incentive could make it difficult to ignore. The conversation then shifted back to Floyd's public image. For years, he built his identity around the connection between wealth and achievement, even rebranding himself from pretty boy to money. Because of that, any speculation about financial difficulties tends to attract enormous attention. Another panelist offered a more practical perspective, arguing that the key question isn't how much Floyd has earned throughout his career, but rather the details people don't see: cash flow, investments, debts, tax obligations, and the cost of maintaining an extravagant lifestyle. In other words, the financial realities that exist beyond the luxury cars and social media highlights. As the debate continued, the panel mixed serious discussion with jokes about gambling losses, tax issues, and high-end spending habits, turning the conversation into a broader examination of how wealth can be managed after a successful career. Still, one point seemed impossible to ignore. Even as some questioned the idea of a fighter approaching 50 years old returning to the ring, others acknowledged a simple truth: if Floyd were to announce a blockbuster bout against someone like Crawford, Canelo, or Pacquiao, many of the same people debating the decision today would likely be tuned in the moment the fight begins.
Canelo or even Pacquiao again. Everybody arguing about it right now will still be watching when the bell rings.
$1 billion and he's 47 years old and he's completely broke. He's won the prize. This is, of all the idiots that we've seen out there, celebrities, actors, entertainers that have lost a lot of money, this guy would take the cake. To blow a bill before he even hits 50 is unimaginable. It actually is sad. It's a cautionary tale. We have seen it time and time again. But who actually wants to watch this guy fight? Like, people that love him. If he comes out and what if he loses and looks terrible and gets destroyed? Well, look, if you love him or hate him, you can say, well, he's nearly 50 years old. This doesn't prove it.
After Whitlock and the panel spent time examining the financial side of Floyd's potential return, Andre Ward brought a noticeably different perspective to the discussion. Rather than focusing on rumors or speculation, he approached the topic from the viewpoint of someone who understands life as a professional fighter. Ward began by emphasizing the respect he has always had for Floyd's discipline and dedication. He acknowledged that while the public often sees the luxury lifestyle, expensive possessions, and high-profile image, those things only tell part of the story. Behind the spotlight was an athlete known for relentless preparation and commitment to his craft. Ward also admitted that he has mixed feelings about the idea of a comeback, and his reasoning went beyond money or headlines. Instead of criticizing Floyd, he He pointed to a reality many athletes face after retirement. The sport becomes deeply connected to who they are. He explained that the rush of competition, the energy surrounding major events, and the rewards that come with performing on the biggest stages create an experience that ordinary life often struggles to replace. From that perspective, returning to the ring can be about far more than finances. It can be about reconnecting with a part of yourself that never truly disappears.
Part of that is because of the way Floyd Mayweather goes about his business. He's been filthy rich. He's made his name, his legacy, and a lot of his reputation wasn't just the boxing, it was the money. It's the money man. What I have, what I'm driving, what I'm living in, what I'm flying in. And a lot of people, they don't like that. I don't know if Floyd Mayweather had more supporters for most of his fights or more haters. But regardless of where you fall on that line, Floyd Mayweather made it work for him when many people, promoters included, networks included, early on didn't think that he can.
That perspective carries extra weight because it comes from someone who has experienced the highest levels of the sport firsthand. Ward then shifted the discussion toward the possibility of a Pacquiao rematch and offered an observation that challenges a common assumption. He noted that veteran fighters can sometimes produce more exchanges in the ring because they no longer possess the same mobility they relied on during their prime years. With reduced movement often comes a greater willingness, or necessity, to stand and trade, which could make a matchup more entertaining than many expect. At the same time, Ward repeatedly emphasized the reality that age remains the biggest concern. One of the toughest challenges for any aging athlete is that confidence and competitive instincts often remain unchanged, even when physical abilities begin to decline. That disconnect can create serious risks inside the ring. Despite those concerns, Ward acknowledged that the matchup still sparks curiosity. While part of him would rather see both legends enjoying retirement and the rewards of their careers, he also recognized the undeniable appeal of watching two iconic fighters with a shared history meet once again. Whether fans support the idea or not, a showdown between names of that magnitude would capture the attention of the entire boxing world.
Don't watch a fighter, he'll say he don't watch him, but he'll watch any potential opponent over and over and over, and he has to process, can he do anything with me? How does my skill set line up with his? Can I beat him? The problem with being 49 years of age is sometimes your brain can see things and tell you things that your body's not in agreement with. That's the problem with age. Your brain is still saying, I'm him. Your brain is still saying, man, I'm Manny Mayweather. Man, these youngsters can't deal with me. But your body is saying, brother, we can't do it like that anymore.
When you take a broader view of the entire discussion, it feels as though several completely different interpretations are competing at once. Joe Rogan focuses on questions surrounding the image of Floyd's financial success. Chael Sonnen challenges many of the long-accepted narratives about boxing's biggest paydays. Whitlock and his panel examine the business decisions, finances, and lifestyle factors connected to the story. Then Andre Ward adds a perspective rooted in first-hand experience, emphasizing that a fighter's connection to the sport often goes far beyond money. As a result, multiple explanations emerge for why a comeback might happen. Some believe the motivation is tied to the opportunity for another major financial reward. Others argue that many of the rumors surrounding Floyd's finances have been overstated. Ward's viewpoint introduces a different possibility altogether. That competition, attention, and the unique emotions that come with fight night can be difficult for former champions to leave behind. Ultimately, the debate reflects a larger conflict between achievement and longevity, financial opportunity and personal passion. Whether people think Floyd is pursuing another payday, adding to his legacy, or simply trying to reconnect with the identity that made him one of boxing's biggest stars, one fact remains clear. The level of attention surrounding the discussion demonstrates the impact he continues to have on the sport. Fans, analysts, and fellow fighters are all examining the situation from different angles, and that kind of sustained interest is often reserved for the most influential figures in boxing history.
That's the struggle, and that's the danger of coming back at this age. So part of me wants to see these guys continue to make money. Part of me wants to see these guys, how do they do it at this age? Man, I mean, show me something. Show me how your mind can overtake the deficiencies you may have in your body at your age. But the deeper part of me, man, I want to see Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao on a beach somewhere, living off the fruits of their labor, helping the game however they see fit to help the game, and just watching the next generations do what they do. But hey, we got to fight September 19th.
Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you believe is driving Floyd Mayweather's potential return to the ring? Is it the financial opportunity, a continued passion for boxing, or the chance to revisit unfinished business with Manny Pacquiao? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the discussion. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing for more boxing content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.